I've been doing my best to try and remain calm and dial down my titles and thumbnails and stuff like that based on your feedback. And by the way, this video won't have all the fancy new editing because it's breaking news, but the rest of the videos today, you should see some marginal improvement each day as we work out the new video style. But as of right now, Iran has fired 6 ballistic missiles at our base, allegedly, in Qatar, as well as some targets in Iraq. That's being reported. Many believe, like myself, that this is at least possibly just posturing. This is something that has happened before many times, like just after Soleimani, things like that. But there's also real reason now to start to get concerned. Up until now, I've tried to remain calm and say, you know, this is not going to be some long protracted thing. And I still am hoping for that. I'm still hoping that this is posturing, but it's getting hard to hold off to drown out the sounds of the drums of war. Earlier, like maybe 20 minutes ago, it was reported that there were sirens and that 6 missiles were on the way in Qatar towards U.S. Army base, which people are said has long been evacuated. All the planes that were not hangared are gone. But also, as an update, airspace in Qatar is now closed. Iranian ships have blocked entrance, and the United States subs just went underwater. So I think that this is starting to be a bit of an escalation beyond perhaps just, beyond just posturing. Disclosed TV for just in, Iran launches missiles towards American bases in Qatar, according to Israeli officials. We have footage, reports of explosions in Qatar. Other reports suggest 6 missiles have been launched at the U.S. Bases in Qatar. I'm also hearing unconfirmed reports that they had been telegraphed to the United States officials to avoid military casualties. I have not heard those same reports, but I have seen this happen many times before where Iran can tell its people it was a great success, but ultimately it was just posturing. We had reports up to several hours beforehand that they had moved launchers into place for a potential attack on U.S. forces in the Middle East in response to the surprise American strike on 3 nuclear sites over the weekend. DoD was tracking a credible threat to U.S. forces in the region. So we had a credible threat on record many, many hours before these missiles were launched. And we can see some of the air defenses being activated here. These are U.S. Patriot missiles, I believe. It's a missile defense system going up. You can see several impacts. One larger one here up, I think, higher up in the atmosphere. Wait for it. There. And then it looks like there's some falling debris, so they may have, got it. So obviously the reports of explosions are correct. This is their missile defense system. And as of right now, the reports are that there were absolutely 0 strikes. Initial reports of the, Al-Assad Air Base in Iraq, unconfirmed reports.
About this about 45, more than an hour ago now. Are we where your sources are telling you that we thought we'd be? Have we gone someplace that we're at least prepared to deal with?
Well, Harris, right now what we can tell from open source reporting on Twitter, you can see imagery of about what we're told from Israeli sources are 6 ballistic missiles that have been fired from Iran towards Qatar. As you know, as we discussed, the Al Udeid base, the largest U.S. Base in the Middle East, is about 40 miles from the capital of Qatar, from Doha. You can see the night skies over Doha right now, and there are explosions in the air. Some of those may be air defense defense missiles, Patriot missiles, trying to intercept those ballistic missiles. We have no indications of impact at this point. As you and I discussed before, there were satellite images from last week of Al Udeid, where the U.S. normally has a large number of transport planes, refueling planes.
That they already cleared out.
Those tarmacs had been emptied of those warplanes, but Al Udeid normally would have 10,000 U.S. troops based there. There had been warnings to U.S. embassy staff to shelter in place and at other embassies across Doha. We also now are learning that the airspace over UAE, the United Arab Emirates, where the United States military has another large military base, that airspace has been closed. And we also understand there could be an imminent threat to U.S. troops and personnel at bases in Iraq. That, if you remember, just 5 years ago, Iran fired ballistic missiles, dozens of them, at U.S. troops in the wake of Qasem Soleimani's killing. So a lot of
they did do this before. It was an empty base, if I remember correctly. It looks like basically all of these have been intercepted. But now, leading report saying a war with Iran could last at least 2 years. If this is just posturing, I hope that's what it is. But all of this is breaking in real time. Here we have sirens sounding at U.S. bases in Bahrain and Kuwait. This is, some say, standard. Sirens blaring at U.S. bases, standard procedure when America projects strength against existential threats. The 5th Fleet Bahrain HQ isn't just a base, it's a linchpin of Gulf security. Iran's nuclear ambitions force decisive action. Right now, again, here, no reports of impact at U.S. bases in Qatar. American Patriot missile defense system have intercepted Iranian missiles. The question is, was this telegraphed? It looks like it probably was, but I think, for example, if we go look at what's going on in Kuwait right now, just in the air over Kuwait right now, as U.S. and coalition forces intercept Iranian missiles. Here's over Kuwait. I always like this music's just chilling in the background. Boom, boom, boom. Here, it's been confirmed that Iran has launched multiple missiles towards U.S. base in Qatar. It's also being reported that air raid sirens at U.S. bases in Kuwait, Iraq, and Bahrain. Is it symbolic? I don't know. But I do think that Trump is going to respond to this. It says Iran has launched ballistic missiles at U.S. targets in Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, and the UAE. So as things continue to develop here, the question is, will there be any strikes? Will there be any loss of life? It's difficult because earlier this morning, they were already talking, the people of Iran were talking about, or there was a report of replacing the Ayatollah. This is going to be very, very, very interesting to see how this breaks up. I mean, as of right now, the Ayatollah gave Trump and the United States the middle finger, and that came with a price. Prez is confident. This is, U.S. strikes Iran, live updates. Iran fires missiles towards U.S. base in Qatar. These are all the latest updates. Kuwait, UAE, closing airspace. Pentagon is aware of monitoring. As of right now, there's this U.S. President Donald Trump has convened his national security team to prepare for the potential Iranian retaliation following U.S. airstrikes on Iran. GPS disruptions have now extended to the Persian Gulf. GPS jamming across Qatar and the UAE. All passenger flights heading towards Qatar have been redirected to Bahrain, although Bahrain is also under attack. A lot of people fair to say, what happened to one strike and we're done? Well, we haven't necessarily struck back yet. People have a lot of fears of false flags, dragging the United States into this war. Remember, after Soleimani, let's see, if we go to Soleimani, let's see. Let's say strikes empty base, I think it was. Iran retaliates for General Soleimani's taking him out by firing missiles at U.S. forces in Iraq. So this is not, unheard of. If you see this, this was back in 2020. Iran retaliated for the United States taking out Soleimani by firing more than a dozen ballistic missiles at 2 Iraqi air bases hosting U.S. forces Wednesday, local time. Washington and Tehran both confirmed Iran was the source of the missiles. The extent of the damage was unclear. Iran's supreme leader said the strikes were a slap in the face to the United States and not sufficient retaliation for taking out Soleimani. All is well. Missiles launched from Iran at 2 military bases located in Iraq. Assessment of casualty and damages taking place now. So far, so good. We have the most powerful and well-equipped military anywhere in the world by far. I'll be making a statement tomorrow. As far as I remember, I could be wrong. There were no casualties for that. So this is still an act of aggression, and the question will be, how will Trump respond now? And I think people are rightfully concerned that this is going to be what it takes to suck Trump right in. I don't know. To me, it's getting harder to kind of say everything's going to be okay. This says, the strange thing, I want to go here to the latest in Kuwait. As of right now, as far as I know, there's been no damage, but, it looks like everything's been intercepted. Is it posturing? Is it a sign of, here we go? World War III is under, if they had telegraphed this to the United States on purpose, which is what is being reported, my hope is that, they all get intercepted, everybody goes home happy, they get rid of the Ayatollah, or the Ayatollah steps down or agrees to, do whatever. But right now, hopefully, some might say, okay, they're testing the Patriot defense system. There'll be more missiles later. As we see, I'll report in real time. These breaking news videos won't have the polish that I had promised, but it's hard to stay in front of this. This is not great. I will continue to keep you updated. Obviously, we'll be live from 2 to 4 Eastern. So if you want to watch a live show, we'll be covering everything in real time there too. I hope you're informed by this video, and I'm praying for our troops, and I'm praying for peace.